I'm Noel McAvoy. I'm one of the Executive Park Superintendents for Dublin City Council, and I've been involved in the renovation and restoration of this Suzhou Garden here in St. Anne's Park. The garden originally came to us as part of a twinning between Dublin and Beijing in 2011. And as a celebration for that, it was brought over to the Bloom Garden Festival. And after that, it was donated to Dublin City Council, and it found its home here in St. Anne's Park.
The Irish Suzhou Garden is a quiet place to visit. You know, in the modern city life, it is always very busy for everyone. So Suzhou Garden can be a place to be relaxed, to have a quiet life, and maybe you can have a meditation there.
Suzhou is a city of about 7 million people, 100 kilometers or so west of Shanghai. And it was established in 514 BCE. And we have records of gardens there going back to at least the 4th century BCE. So it's a very long tradition. The oldest garden that still survives, the Surging Waves Pavilion, was built in 1044. Suzhou gardens are the most famous style of classical Chinese garden, and they date to certainly the 4th century BCE. The largest garden in Suzhou now is called the Humble Administrator's Garden. It's not very humble, it's about 13 acres or 2/3 the size of Stephen's Green. And the smallest garden is the Master of the Nets Garden, which is just over an acre. And what we've got here in the Irish Suzhou Garden in St. Anne's Park is smaller than that, but it has all the key features of the Suzhou Garden. It was a place that officials retired to get away from the hustle and bustle of politics, but these were for highly intellectual people who had passed difficult civil service exams, so it's a very learned tradition. And what they wanted to do was get away from the city life, but also have a space for quiet contemplation, for cultivating what were called the 3 perfections of painting, poetry and calligraphy. But also they use their gardens the way we do as social spaces. So people would gather together. We have paintings of men chatting, eating, playing drinking games in their gardens, women gathering together to make music together.
As you can see when you look around the garden, time has not been a friend. We have had to basically do a complete refit of the garden. The garden was a stage set, so it was never built to last, okay? So we have had to make it a more permanent structure, but we managed to keep it up and running for the last 10, 12 years, but it's come to the point where we've had to refit the whole garden again. And this is the project that we're at the moment. We worked with the Suzhou Garden Bureau, who are the people who originally donated the garden to us in 2011. And they sent a team of master tradesmen to Dublin, working in partnership with the City Council.
我是苏州古典园林建筑有限公司，我们园林集团下面有个苏州园林发展股份有限公司，我是苏州园林发展股份有限公司的一个技术负责人，包括也是一个传承人，叫东厂长张喜平啊。我在国内主要是负责我们技艺传承这一块，本人呢也是正高级工程师、高级技师、非物质文化遗产传承人。这个整个我们苏州园林啊，苏州园林是我们中国的瑰宝，也是我们世界非物质文化遗产的重要组成部分，对理解我们苏州园林艺术等等，包括我们中国的传统文化起到重要的作用。所以呢，我们这次来维修啊，一定要把这个项目维修好。
The Chinese tradesmen came over to us from Suzhou as agreed, and they worked right through to the 27th of December. They took Christmas Day off. The thing is, it was very unusual because they hadn't a word of English, and we didn't have a word of Chinese, and we still got on very, very well.
我是来自苏州园林发展股份有限公司的孙一鸣，是我们公司香山人才计划的一名学徒。我跟随我的师傅张喜平大师来到爱尔兰维修这个爱苏园。张喜平大师是一个在我们苏州园林古建行业，他是我们的全国技术能手啊，也是香山帮营造技艺非遗技艺之乡。很荣幸能够跟随他来到遥远的爱尔兰修缮这座园林。
这次呢，我们基本上现在呢比较忙的时间比较忙，一直在这个项目上维修。主要是2点一线，从这个项目上到宿舍，宿舍到项目上面，主要是5个工种：油漆、木作、瓦作、石作等。当初我们爱苏园啊是一个实际模型，整个屋顶是采用木结构的，而且包括这个围墙顶也是全部采用木构件。所以我们呢，我来了2次，这是第2次过来。第一次呢4月份过来，就整个对我们爱苏园的整个一个项目的一个测绘，发现啊。围墙顶已经缺失了，然后屋顶呢已经腐烂了，柱根包括栏杆的那个抱柱啊，基本上有腐朽的那种出现，然后影响整个一个建筑的结构。所以我们这次呢更换了好多东西，一个屋顶主要是屋顶提升屋顶，采用真的我们苏式的小青瓦全部铺设。包括那个围墙顶，然后呢，柱子下面呢，我们再增加了一个柱橱，就金山式柱橱，包括一个整体的一个油漆。然后呢，油漆呢是主要是我们这次呢，因为是爱方完成的，我们呢主要是起到一个技术指导。
My name is Chris Cullen. I'm in Dublin City Council since 2006. I'm involved in the upkeep of the park, which involves the upkeep of this Chinese garden. Well, at the moment here I'm applying a stain which is called Jacobean walnut. I'm applying it to the timber here to protect it from the rain, the sunlight, stop it bleaching. Because over the years it does bleach and it needs protection probably every 3 to 4 years. So I'll give it 2 coats of this and it should be okay for the next hopefully 5 to 10 years. The roof tiles have been placed on top because the whole roof was made of timber and it had to be painted black nearly every 3 or 4 years. So the original tiles now won't have to be touched with anything because they're tiles, obviously. A few of the timbers have been replaced here, so I have to stain them up, fill them up, treat them with clear antifungal to stop woodworm getting into it and that, and paint away. So it's a nice project to be working on. When the weather picks up, it'll be even nicer.
Presently where we're standing at the moment would have been the area of our old Irish garden. The garden itself is surrounded by a taxus baccata or a yew hedge. In the background then we have our clock tower and then surrounded by hollow oaks. We would have had a patio that would have been here over the last 2 to 3 decades, which is now dismantled. We've decided to open up the whole area now to have fluidity so people and guests in the future can go explore the Chinese garden and walk seamlessly then into the actual old Irish garden as it was. This area that we have cleared now at the moment, we will be reintroducing a new lawn as well, similar to the lawn that we have installed in the Chinese garden. All the works carried out are carried out by local staff from our civil trades to our general operatives on the ground here and some craft gardeners as well.
My name is Paul Hughes. I have been working in the Parks Department for 33 years. I was down on the island as a warden and came up here then and went back at 50 years old to study turf management in the Botanic Gardens, and I've now been working in the golf course and laying turf for the last about 14 years. This is the old area of the old Irish garden. This was a retaining wall and a patio area that we have excavated out, the turf that's relaying. The whole idea is that the whole place will become one big garden. The technique we generally use is staggered by turf. We don't generally put the lines together, because what will happen is sometimes they'll dry out slightly and these edges will lift. As we lay turf, we put a small indent along the side, a small trench along the side, and as you're putting the turf, you will envelope it into the trench, therefore covering it and not allowing people to see these edges that are on it. So as you can see, the turf is laid again only about a week, and already it's starting to knit in again quite well. The only difference between this and greens is there would be a lot more sand in the greens. So generally, because of the different types of grasses, so what you're seeing here is generally ryegrass and some tall fescues. Our greens out in the golf course are all to do with bent grass, so they're all American. They stand an awful lot more of the sand. In here, to be honest with you, if you put too much sand in it, the turf would dry too quickly and it would actually be detrimental to it. The problem again, because you've got less light in here and a lot more shade, and it obviously gets quite humid in here because you've cut down on air as well because of the wall here, and then obviously this building here, it can get quite humid. So again with fescue, because it's an American grass, will stand up to a lot more humidity. Our climates are slightly different, so having more fescue in the grass will definitely help it. If you had a lot more rye, what would happen would be it would start to go slightly yellowy, and it may even go scraggly, so you'd find patches of grass rather than this very big lawn of grass or this carpet of grass. It's a seamless look. The whole idea is you go from one texture to another texture in one, if you want, one step, rather than have to either step down or step up. The whole idea is to be completely seamless.
然后我们整个这个项目涉及到的工作呢，有木工、瓦作，包括油漆，包括这个石作等等，主要是以我们瓦作为主。瓦作呢，我们这个有丝绸堂、有廊、有余荫亭3个单体组成。3个单体呢，这个有一个不同的屋面，一个是雪山的，2个是硬山的。然后呢，采用的级又不同。丝绸堂采用的呢是我们1瓦条甘蔗级，然后我们走廊呢采用的是黄瓜环级，半亭呢有水墙等等。然后呢，我们还有一个整个木构件部分呢分大木、小木。小木呢，我们就是挂落啊、残窗啊、短窗啊、栏杆啊，称之为小木装修。然后呢，就是整个一个挂落呢，对一个挂落的一个修缮，门窗的修缮。然后呢，我们木构件的有挂落啊、残窗啊，在缺失的地方要修补。然后呢，还有一个石构件，石构件呢，我们主要是换那个柱础，在整个一个木柱的下面呢，再增加一个花岗石的柱础，就不会在这个我们木构件直接插在地上受水的影响呢腐烂，帮助就延长这个我们这个木柱的使用寿命。
Hello, my name is Brendan Keogh and I'm the gardener responsible for the upkeep of the herbaceous border, the miniature garden and Chinese garden, and I've been working here for 8 years now. Myself and other people in the council, we planted up the garden with bamboos and we also planted some acers. As you can see there, this is a grisium or a paperbark acer. So this type of pine is a cloud pine, and we prune it to keep the shape, and we generally maintain the garden, keep it minimum as possible, nice and tidy for the public.
So basically where we're standing at the moment now is a complete restoration project from the original paving that was down here. There would have been wood dividers between both. We've replaced that with a slate, and each piece of slate there has been cut to size and inserted into a cement bed in between, so it's solid where we're standing now. The stone on which, when we were lifting the stones originally, the stones, because they're very brittle, would just fall out. So my bricklayer painstakingly went along. Each stone was put in by hand. All of this has been done by hand, very painstakingly, very slow and laborious, but it's a credit to the guys doing the work, because it's meticulous, like in the job they're doing. It's good to see master craftspeople at work.
My name is Noel Edney. I'm 47 years in the Parks Department. We've got this project to do. We replace all the timbers that was originally framing the tiles, and the Chinese sent over the replacements, but not all of them fit, so we had to grind them and fit the most of them by hand. Basically, it's just time, that took to do the job, because it's a bit tricky with all the angles and whatever. We've done our best to kind of marry them into the original design. But they got 12 years over, which is good, but they rotted away, which exposed the edge of the panel, and then the roots got in underneath them. It's to replace the black stones. Some of them are popped where they lifted and cracked. We had to lift the whole panel and try and put it back as best we could. Like on the circle here, we had to put them up on the soldier course to get them on the curve. And these ones here were just married in the straight angles, and we married them in as best we could. Originally it was timber, so it's only a temporary feature on it, but which they all rotted away, and we had to replace with the tile, because the ones they sent over were far too big for to go in. Because if you tried to chisel out a bigger hole, you'd loosen up the one either side of it, and your job would just get bigger and bigger. You'd end up doing the whole thing. So we put in a smaller pebble from the original, but it's trying to go down and source them, which we're ducking and diving in next door to get the little pebbles that do the job. So we were lucky enough that we had a little garden next door that had a mixture of pebble, so we could go in and just pick what we wanted. We were about 5 weeks doing it. Like, it wasn't too bad. Well, at the start it was a bit cold and damp in here, like, but now it's okay with the summer and that. It's more enjoyable. But in the cold mornings and that, it wasn't great.
The gardens are supposed to evoke different senses. So you've got touch from the stones, you can feel them under your feet. You've got the sound of the wind in the trees or in the leaves of the bamboo. Obviously the sight of the beauty of the garden, and the smell maybe of the pine or the blooms. And we've got the rocks here, which are prized for their highly textured surface, and the cavities and holes are also what you'd be looking for, and particularly any with a vertical orientation to represent mountains. So the garden is kind of a representation of nature in miniature. The rocks would be shaped naturally by the water. Traditionally they come from the Lake Taiku just outside Suzhou, and there were families who would specialize in placing a rock and allowing over the course of a generation the water to shape it. So sometimes they would be leaving a rock and it would be someone later who would retrieve the rock and install it in a garden. Here we have a crane, which has symbolism in both Irish and Chinese mythology. In Ireland it represents longevity. The tradition is that the white crane lives to 1,000 years, then turns grey and lives another 1,000 years, then turns black, at which point it's immortal. And it's in a circle. The circle symbolises the heavens or the universe, and then around we've got the repeated pattern of a square, which represents the earth. So there's a balance there between the heavens and the earth. If the garden is a space of yin as opposed to yang, yin is represented by wetness, coolness, and you've got that here with the raindrops gathered on the tree branches. That would be something you would really look for, not just something that's beautiful. So you can come here at any time of year and get that sense. And if you were to hear the raindrops falling, that then engages the sense of sound and hearing as well. Here the characters tell us that this is the Contemplating Moss Pavilion, and it's nice to see moss growing between the stones here. Moss is a very calming, quiet substance. Here's the name of the garden, I-Su-Yuan, Irish Suzhou Garden. But the I in Ireland also means love. It's Ireland. I love orchid country. So this could also be read as Love Suzhou Garden.
其中呢，后续呢，我们准备抽一段时间，整个到爱尔兰跑一遍，可能有惊喜的发现。游客啊，就是我们在维修过程中有好多爱尔兰的那个游客啊，周边的居民啊，来看我们这个维修，看我们苏州园林，包括有些做技术的，一过来看，他们听说这个园林修得蛮好，过来看我们这个苏州园林，这个倒有其中也是一种惊喜。爱尔兰人也比较喜欢我们中式的苏州园林。
Welcome again here to St. Anne's Park and to our Chinese garden. A fabulous September's day here in St. Anne's Park in Dublin. The place is looking stunning, and this has been a collaboration since mid-December up until early spring this year between the Chinese master craftsmen and the Irish master craftsmen. We've brought together this truly unique project, which is one of its kind in Dublin and the world. It's been an absolutely well worthwhile journey. The public have received it absolutely fantastic, and we're so proud to have worked with these master craftsmen and our own master craftsmen And I think you can see for yourself, folks, today the result has been absolutely stunning, and everybody should be proud of the project in which has been carried out here in St. Anne's Park.
We hope everyone, including the Chinese people here, the Irish local people, when they are visiting the garden, could have a very good feeling of a slow down life there. So welcome to the Irish Suzhou Garden.